Hello everyone, welcome back. I'm just trying to make a quick video today on resetting the Desmo service indicator on my dash on my Ducati Hyperstrada. This is kind of a, it's not a big thing. You can ride it with the light, but typically the only way to get the service indicator light off is to take it to your friendly dealer. And I don't know about where you live, but mine like to charge pretty close to $200 an hour for doing just about anything. So we just thought we'd try to do this today and see how it goes. I thought I'd make this quick little video to see if it would help anyone, just because I ran into a couple things that just took me a few times to figure out. But let's see how this goes. So you will need a computer, a Windows laptop, possibly a MacBook. I tried a MacBook at first with a Windows VM, but couldn't get it to recognize the serial cable that is needed for this guy. So it's kind of a two-part cable, well, two cables hooked together. So we've got a adapter into a US ODBT. What is it? ODB2, and then the ELM 327 interface cable that hooks to the computer itself. And on the Hyperstrada, probably Hypermotard, take the seat off, and under the left section over here on the side of the battery, we can pull this guy out. So this has a little cap on it, just pops off. Since I don't have a holder for my camera, I'll pull that off in a minute and hook the cable up to it. So the next pieces you need, so computer, two cables. One of the most important things, well, the software we're going to use is called Melco Diag. I was going to see if I could bring this up just to show you. If you just type in Melco Diag, you will get a number of results. A couple of them are important. The first one is this highlighted here, which gives you sort of the directions of where to get it, how to install it, and then what to do. And then right under that, you will see this JP Diag, and that's where you actually download the software itself. So once you go to the JPEG Diag page, we'll go over there. There are, I think, 4 pieces of software here. We'll scroll down. So we want 1, 2, 3, 4. We want it's the last one on the page. So you download this. You may have to bypass your antivirus or security in order to download it. It seems like most browsers and Windows don't like it, but you can bypass that. And then once you get that installed, you can go over here to that other link, which is basically a how-to write-up telling you how to install it. It says on Windows 8.1, but I've been using Windows 10, and that seems to be fine. So it'll tell you what you need, i.e. the cables, and there's even a little test for the ODB2 connector cable if you want to run through that just to make sure you've got the right kind, the good one. And this is really important here. So this is what I could not get my MacBook VM to do. was to recognize the port, USB serial port, and add that COM. So on this Dell Windows, I'm going to pull this guy up, my device manager here. Once I get rid of some of these windows, just so you can see it easier. So as you can see here, it looks very similar to that screenshot on the how-to. And there's a ports, and under ports is a USB serial port, COM3. So that COM3 is what the software uses to recognize that you've got your cable hooked in properly, and so it reads through that. So prior to connecting that on this computer, there was no ports node in that list. So it took a couple of Windows updates, a couple of restarts after that, and then hooking the cable up, and finally Windows was able to find the correct drivers and added the ports node with the USB serial port COM3 under it. So that was my first challenge, was just getting to that point. And you know, it seems pretty trivial now, but it took a while just to get that far. So that might be an issue that you run into, or it might not if you've got a nice new laptop sitting around, which I didn't. So anyway, we're going to move on from there. We'll go back and get our tutorial going. So after you get everything hooked up, you pull up the application, and I'm going to show you on here just what it looks like. So this is an older version. The newer one has it's slightly different, but looks very similar. So you have to get a license, but in order to get a license, you have to hook it up to your motorcycle first. So you have to have that COM3, in my case, hooked up and in your device manager showing. And when you launch the application, it knows and can read that COM3, and it just defaults it into the list. And then really the biggest thing is from here, once you're hooked up to the computer, and your computer is hooked up to your motorcycle, you go to hit the connect button, which is up here. Before it shows disconnect, it shows connect, and then it will load information from your bike. And so when it does that, you will see some of these lights on this USB serial cable light up while it's transferring data. So that's how you know things are kind of working there and moving in the right direction. And then after it successfully, hopefully, loads information from your bike, it will display a bit of it on this. And then you want to hit this write report, which generates a little report in the directory where you installed the program, the Melco Diag. And I'm not sure if this is needed for anything, but it says to do that first, and then you have to hit get license, and that is what's really important. So after you hit get license, it's going to launch the web browser from the Melco Diag and bring up this page with the information, this little debug information pre-filled out in here. So don't put anything in here, but just put your bike, year, model, and then your email, and hit send, and that sends an email to the developer, and he will in time reply to your email address with a license. So I've already successfully done that, and that worked out pretty good. He got back to me probably within an hour, which seems pretty prompt. So moving down after that, we've got the license now. Now we're going to try to start the software again with the license. You download the license file that he sends you and put it into the directory that you're working with for your Melco diag. And here's mine. And the license file is called cle.lic. So we've got that guy, and now I'm going to hook up these cables, and we'll see if we can get this reset going. So hang tight, I'll be right back. Okay, everybody, I've got things hooked up now, I think. Here is cable hooked up to the bike. The ODB2 hooked up to the serial port for the ELM 327, and that is still hooked up to the computer. So if we go here, we can turn this guy on, and this will display the Desmo service indicator. Desmo service flash, 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 and then the wrench, and the wrench stays there. So the idea is we can see if we can get rid of that guy. So back to the computer. I'm going to hop back to the tutorial that says, so once we got our license file, we copied it into the folder. We're going to power the bike back on, and we're going to launch Melco Diag app again. So let's see what happens. All right, so we're still here at COM 3. So as I said, this is a little bit newer version than the one listed in the tutorial here. For example, I just have any bike selected. I left the baud rate the same. And yeah, that's about all we've got for the moment. So we've got the license file and hope it works. So we'll hit connect. And while it's connecting, we can go over here. You can see these lights churning. And then we come back, and you can see in here, it puts in my VEN software version. It lists 2013 Hypermotard 821, which is essentially what I've got. Mine's a 2015. And then I believe we go over to this resets page. We've got a service interval here, which now so these buttons were deactivated, but now they are activated. So we are going to try this Desmo service reset and see what happens. And for grins, we're going to do the oil reset too, I think, since it's got the wrench on it. And I've heard 2 beeps from the computer. So I'm going to hop back this tutorial real quick. I selected the Resets tab, located the appropriate reset buttons, successfully reset the service indicators. So, if all went well, I'm going to hop back to the bike. Look on here. The wrench is gone. Let's turn it off. And we'll start it back up and see if anything indicates. We get the oil service. Just a quick one, but nothing else. So no more wrench, no more Desmo service indicator, and we're all good. So this seemed to be pretty successful as far as that goes. You don't have to take it to the dealer and pay them lots of your hard-earned money. You can do this yourself at home and call it good. So we'll leave it at that for now. Thanks again for watching. If you have any questions, comments, leave them below, and I'll get back to them if I can. Thanks.